Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Harmony. I'm a twin flame expert helping twin flames around the globe face spheres, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Welcome to my weekly glow show. Today's topic is twin flames. How do we find balance? You know, that harmonic dance of yin and yang, of fluid and flow. We have been working so hard to find our own truth, to align with our own self, and to open up to a side of ourselves that we haven't experienced before, which is creating expansion of our soul. As we shift into this new energy, we're being asked to master the art of harmonic balance, creating the harmonic dance around our twin flame journey. So many people, couples, I should say, I'm seeing so much alignment of twin flames in the 3D. So I'm going to kind of break this into two parts. And today's going to be more about the harmonization of yourself. And I want to give you 5 suggestions to help you stay in balance. And then I'll follow this up with a part 2 of harmonization with your twin flame dynamic, which is technically, to do that, it's finding the symmetry in alignment, staying in alignment and symmetry of 2 parallel realities between you and your beloved, which is you and you being 2 counterpart templates. And so I'm going to kind of repeat that. So to come into harmonization in your twin flame journey, you have to stay in a harmonic balance, which is symmetric alignment of 2 parallel realities between 2 counterpart templates, and learn how to do this harmonic dance I'm talking about. So if you're to do this harmonic dance to bring into form your reunion, you first have to learn to dance alone and to create this harmonic dance of fluid and flow and flexibility and balance and oneness and creating justice and uniformity and symmetric within your own soul. And what that means is that you're really finding the balance in your vibration. You're releasing enough of your past that has raised your vibration and putting you in alignment with your destiny, so to speak. And now what I'm saying in finding the balance is that you have to then create a balance and harmony in order to stay in this vibrational alignment. And it's like walking a balance beam. And it is a very, very, very fine line. And, you know, so we're creating, like I said, symmetry here. And as I mentioned, you know, we've been expanding ourselves into this contrast and the duality of coming into all of it, all that is. And therefore, then in the middle of our external chaos, find an internal clarity that gives us the inner peace inside of us no matter what. And I'm telling you, like, I walk and do this dance daily. And that's why I was kind of being shown to share that, because I want you to realize you're never going to be at a destination, that it's finding the harmonic balance in this harmonic dance. That, I mean, if you get one toe outside of pulling out of alignment of source, meaning like you're pulling out and doing something that is in contrast to what you've learned, you know, your soul starts to feel it and starts to see it. And then on the other end of that, if you are staying, say, maybe what you think is in alignment, but you're getting in like too complacent, it's the all or nothing thing I talk about. We tend to be, as human beings, like it's all or nothing. And we want to do everything, or then we go to nothing. And that's finding the stability between those things. And so let's just jump right into those 5 suggestions that I mentioned to help you walk this balance beam. And I'm going to also kind of piggyback that, I feel like, with a couple experiences I've had. That's how I've managed to walk the balance beam. And number one is just being okay with where you are at any given moment. And I mean, of course, that sounds easier than it is. But what it means is that in the middle of all that chaos, you have to let go of being in control of your situations and your circumstances, and to surrender that control. To what the goal in that is for you to stay in control of your own vibration. That's where you have control. You know, your perception, your choice of choosing to be happy or not, and to decide that it's up to you how you feel, and that you should start to make all your choices around the concept and the idea of how does that make me feel in this given moment. And, you know, because the better we feel, and the more we feel this alignment of peace and serenity and tranquility and happiness and harmony, the more open we stay to allow and to receive and to stay in the alignment. Now let's use an example of this one, okay? For this one, that is about your purpose. Okay, when I talk about these 5 suggestions to stay in balance, I want you to realize these suggestions work in multiple planes and multiple dimensions. For instance, it is your own self, your own energetic vibration, and how you align with source. It is your purpose and how you align with your purpose. And it's also with your beloved and how you align with your beloved. So even if I'm going to give you like maybe different examples of a combination of this vibration for yourself, the connection to your alignment with your purpose and or alignment with your beloved, no, any one of these things that I'm going to share with you in suggestions work for all of the things you should stay in alignment with. Which, by the way, I do want to say something else before I continue here, because to dance the dance of self, it's also about coming into the unification of yourself. And unification is coming into the full expression, the full expansion of all of you, of all that is, and aligning and being okay with all that is, and you becoming all that you can be. And then finding the balance then is between that contrast, the duality. Finding the balance is between like the give and the take, the internal, the external, the higher self, the lower self, the head and the heart. You know, finding that like we're always going to have both. So how can we find the balance between our head and our heart, right? And that's what we love to do and what we have to do, kind of thing. So this is the harmonic dance between those things. But because for us to have this harmony and to be in this dance, we also have to kind of, as a precursor to this, make sure that we do unify our soul, which is releasing our past, raising our vibration, and realigning into the oneness and recollecting and retrieving our soul on every level. So I've said this before, but we're at a place again. I have to say this again. If you have not, or even if you have in the past, it's time to re-watch my Return to Oneness 5-part video series that I will make sure you have a link as a suggested video here on this video. Make sure to check that out, because now that's going to talk to you in those 5 parts about how to come into alignment, which is the unification, and then staying in alignment is more what I'm saying now. But the alignment of yourself, the alignment with source, the alignment with your beloved, the alignment with purpose, and the alignment with all that is, okay? So now, I want to talk about purpose and being okay with where you're at any given moment. So I want to use this as an example, what I'm saying right here with purpose. So many people, they're on this twin flame journey and they feel like there's this cookie cutter type mold that we should all fit into. And they look at it as being a spiritual journey, and they think that we all have to be the same. and that we all got to be enlightened beings, and we all got to be totally awake, and we all got to do this, and we all got to do that. We should have the same missions, and it all should revolve around spirituality and card readings, and just the list goes on. So what I'm here to tell you is we don't all have the same purpose or the same mission. And that your mission and your purpose may be just the fact that you have came into this life to tap into source and to do nothing but be a conduit of air and electricity, to just be here, just to be you. And you are, without even conscious effort, pulling as it is in heaven into earth, and the grid line works. So just connecting. It's just you're funneling it in. You're funneling it in. And that is your only job and your only mission. There's other people that are bridges. They are bridging the gap between heaven and basically earth. And they're going up in consciousness, and they're tapping into this wisdom. They're downloading it. They're processing it, they're integrating it, they're delivering it, and then they're also anchoring it into the earth and doing grid line work, which is like the double aspects of the heaven and earth, right? You're becoming the bridge between. There are other people that literally are only anchors. They may not be spiritually oriented. They may not know all this, the spiritual guru, or may not be a spiritual guru at all, but their only job is to know that somewhere in their heart that they love, they are having fun, they're in a space of more, maybe not connected to all the higher realms, but they're anchoring this vibration and they're bringing it into form, and they have already brought maybe into form some of these things. And they're anchoring this energy into the physical reality of this earth. So the key, what I'm telling you here, is don't think that you are out of the box if you're not one and or all of those things. You're doing exactly the part you're supposed to be. And so what I'm giving you permission is to say, okay, it's okay to be where I'm at this given moment. Keeping in mind at any given moment, you might be the conduit of the air, the electricity, you might be the bridge, or you might be the anchor. That, don't think you have to be all of that. Be okay with where you are. That's going to be so important. So I don't know, that just felt like a really good one to share, because so many people are really hard on themselves about mission, and they're thinking they're doing something wrong, and it's not right. Or, they think they have to try to mold into some mold that you don't have to. Okay. Number 2, be consistent. Find a couple of things that work for you and just stay consistent with it. Don't put so much on yourself. Let's use an example of yourself for this one. Maybe you've been wanting to make better habits going through this ascension process, and knowing and feeling that the things that don't align with you anymore that you used to eat, or your old habits just don't work anymore. So instead of feeling like, oh my God, I just got to yank everything out from under myself all at this given moment, and right now, I need to do all this and make all these changes. Well, first of all, as a coach, to tell you this, it's very much important to introduce new ideas and better habits before you just start saying, nope, nope, nope. I mean, we're human, so we're never going to say, oh, I'm never going to eat chocolate cake again, right? So allow for, some flexibility in that, which is going to be one of these too, but of these 5 suggestions. But this is how I'm going to share in a minute how they all link together. So, but basically when it comes to yourself, just, maybe introduce a couple habits, and don't be so constricting on having to do it all. Maybe just start making a few changes in your nutrition, adding in some exercise, and then maybe clean, once you know that you've made better choices, maybe then go in and clear out your refrigerator and your cabinets and get rid of all the sugar, and only have that on an occasional, treat or something like that. And this isn't our, and I'm saying this isn't a reality because so many people are going through this ascension and they're literally making these habit changes and thinking they have to do all this at one time, and it's just too overwhelming. So let go of that and just think a couple things and just stay consistent, and that eases your load. You know, when it comes to purpose, I'll give you an example, that same being consistent with purpose. You know, there's so many things in this expansion, even myself included in this one. I have so many ideas, so many things to create. And when it comes to my marketing, I have an entire formula marketing plan. I was trained in marketing for 12 years through my chiropractic practice. I have taken that into like the digital world, and like I've also taken a lot of training in that. And I have an entire platform of everything I want to roll out. Well, it's not exactly time to roll all of it out. But what I can tell you is I'm being very consistent with showing up here on YouTube to create a video on a regular basis. Okay, I'm staying consistent, right? I show up every week no matter what's going on, and I'm consistent in showing up here. And I'm also somewhat consistent in Facebook. But to implement everything that I want to implement would be too overwhelming right now. And I just have to be okay with that, right? That's saying I'm okay at this given moment, which was number one, but I'm going to stay consistent, number two, and these couple things. You know, when it comes to being consistent with your journey, of your twin flame journey and your beloved, you need to really just make sure your only job is to say yes to the journey. And then you need to just get out of the way and stay open to everything, attached to nothing, and trade your expectations for appreciation of the journey. That in itself is enough to just stay consistent with and get out of the way and focus on you and like let your light shine. And the journey will take care of itself. Okay, you just be consistent with you and be consistent with saying yes to the journey. So number three is to stay present in the present time consciousness and allowing yourself to detach from situations, detach from outcomes, and then detach from negative experiences and things that is kind of like your past that could pull you down. Now, I got to tell you, like, this is one that I've really had to work on, and I've actually gotten really good at it, staying present. And as you know, if you followed me over the last couple of weeks, I've been very present with everything going around in my life and all those people going around me. That's my father and my ex-husband having had health issues, which, by the way, I want to thank everyone for your prayers, your thoughts, your healing energy, and your messages for that. I totally appreciate it. I know they do too. And they are still healing within themselves. But what I've managed to do is be able to stay present and but also stay detached from the situation. And to give you an example, and this is going to like sum up all these five of kind of what I've done in this, is like I've had to pull away from projects that I had put some timelines on myself in order to show up at the hospital visits, in order to go out of town on a fly-by-night trip to see my dad in a 24-hour period, in order to still make my niece's birthday party that I wanted to attend. And, you know, by the time it came into this week, I was definitely a little bit more tired, but I had to be okay with where I was at the given moment. I had to stay detached before I got to the weekend in order to stay in the present time, to see clients, and like to know that I could only do what I could do. And that also that meant letting go of projects to show up and be present for people in those moments whenever I felt like they needed me at the same time, because I even had company out of town over the weekend. So it was a shift. And that takes me into number four, is stay flexible. That's a form of surrendering and being open to receive and embracing the change that's going to come along through your path every day so that you can go with the flow, and that allows you to grow with the flow and creates expansion as you grow into these things. You know, I had certain things that I had set up last week, you know, and over the last couple of weeks with these situations. And, you know, for my personal thought of different, like I said, projects, I remained open and flexible and stayed very present, no matter whether I was with family or whether I was with, you know, the projects I need to get done, or with clients, I should say. And then I stayed very flexible to surrendering the projects that and the things that I would have done that I had to let go of at that given moment, but being okay with where I was at that given moment. And this is how we do it. And at the end of the day, then, number five is about jumping timelines. And being able to know, like, for instance, that at any given place and moment with this being okay with where you're at is your perception. And if you don't like where you're at, you no longer have to be there. So we are all in different places of this journey, and we're all experiencing different things. And some people are still clearing some really deep karma and releasing that. Other people are expanding themselves. Other people are like coming out and like tapping into higher vibrations, and other people are bringing their missions into form and maybe even expanding those. But if you are in a place that you don't like, no matter where you're at in this journey, know that you have the choice to choose to change your perception and your thoughts and shift your reality through deciding you don't have to be stuck there any longer wherever you're at, especially if you're still in the old timelines. And if you're living and acting in those old timelines and you're staying there, it's because of your perception. So change your perception, and that'll help you, number one, shift your timeline. And so being able to then cancel that old programming that we've been programmed to believe that we have to remain stuck in that because we feel like that, you know, we need to clear this and we need to clear that. Choose to decide that you've finished your soul's contract, you know, and decide you're going to cancel your programming. And then let go, like get out of your way and let go of the doubts that you've been having about this journey, and to realize that if you've still been having doubt and then you're starting to question, well, why was I shown this? And then now I'm being shown that, it's because you went from a timeline jump. And in one timeline this existed, and in a new timeline that, you know, in one timeline that existed, and in a new timeline this exists. And you have to be flexible enough to jump these timelines to then, again, number one, be okay with where you're at that given moment, and to know that you might just be jumping timelines is why things are getting like really like questionable, as in why was this and then and why is it now different? And that's creating your doubts and your fears of this journey. But knowing, depending upon which timeline you're in, depends upon which one is the reality. And that you can choose the reality is what I'm saying. You don't have to be stuck there anymore. I'm going to give you an example of how I like really learned this. I've done it multiple times, and I've saw myself doing this for the last year and a half really easily, like seeing myself do this. But like when I really did this was when I was ending the trial with Champ back in March, whenever I was being at the court date, having court dates that kept getting moved and moved and moved for months. I have different reason, this, that, another, and each one saying, okay, what's my lesson? Okay, what's my lesson? And like, okay, what's my lesson? You know, and then like it came down to, there was a couple things that could take place. One, there could have been a jury trial. Two, there could have been an appeal. And I knew I had hit my limit to what I could take. And I basically stepped back, went to the universe, had my counsel lined up in front of me, and said, I'm effing finished. If you want me to deliver all this great stuff going forward, I will do that, because that's my mission. And I signed up for it, and I agree with it. And I'm not saying I won't do it, but if I have to go through another trial date to get to the finish line of closing this out, regardless of the outcome, I'm finished. Because I'll take care of me before I take care of anybody else. And if I have to go through another few months of dragging this crap out, then I will back up from everything and focus on me, because that's all I have left to give. And if that's where you are, I'm saying the same thing to you. Back out of that timeline and change your timeline and reprogram that, because you don't even have to be in that space anymore unless you choose to keep going through lesson after lesson. So we can clear karma till the cows come home for the remainder of this life, for the rest of our eternity. But what I'm saying here is choose to say, I'm finished with this programming. I don't have to live in those old paradigms of that old crap and that karma anymore. If I want to go back there, I can find more to dig deeper into, but I don't want to go back there. I want to live in the new paradigm. I want to shift my focus. I want to stay glowing forward on fire, connected to with these all this greatness that I came here to do, be, have an experience, and share the shine with other people. And the only way I can do that is if I show up every day in my own space, taking care of me and doing what I have to do for me to charge me up, to come here to deliver what needs to be delivered, and to stay in the dance of my own harmonic balance here. I can't teach other people to do that if I can't do it. I have to stay fluid, free, and flexible. I have to learn to be okay with where I'm at. I have to be consistent and show up. I have to stay present. I have to allow for the flexibility for the change, and I get to choose which timeline do I want to be in. These things, these 5 suggestions will help you stay in balance if you can go through the fluid motion of this harmonic dance. And if for you to align with your beloved, you got to learn how to be consistent in fluid flow of this dance. That to get in this harmony with yourself, you have to be in unity with self, and you have to be aligned with source, and you have to be in acceptance of all of you and of all that is, which helps align you in the harmony of all of you with all it is. Okay? So, wow. I just want to see if there's any other thing that needs to come through. And I feel complete with that. So, make sure that you like, comment, share the shine. Make sure to check out all the ways you can glow forward with me. And may you always face your fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Namaste.